Okay, welcome back to Happy Medium Fit Podcast. I'm your host, Taylor. And if you are not new here, you know that I've only got my period 1 to 2 times my whole entire life up until recently and deep diving into my hormones and everything. But what you might not know about me is that I actually would also only poop 1 time a week, maybe 2 times a week. So I was just chronically constipated my entire life. Like, this has been ever since I was a child. And my family and friends would be like, what is wrong with you? There is something wrong with you. But when I went to the doctor, they would not bat an eye and they did not care. They would say, oh, take some Miralax, take a laxative. If you go to the website, you will literally see of Miralax or whatever the said prescription is, it literally tells you do not rely on this long term. So what's a girl to do? And so, as you might know, I've been deep diving the past almost year since October and deep diving into functional health and making sure that I am doing everything I possibly can to optimize my internal health so that, like, obviously it'll reflect on an external, but my main concerns are getting my period regulated and not being constipated 24/7. So I used to think it was normal to just never have to go to the bathroom because for some people, I've heard horror stories of like needing to go to the ER because it hurts so bad, you're in so much pain and you're like doing any remedy. Because this was chronic and lifelong for me, I didn't really experience any pain or like bloating or discomfort that seemed out of the ordinary or anything. It feels like I could always pinpoint it down to like eating too much or like eating a crazy meal out or something. But like other than that, I was fine. And so I didn't have any like alert emergency going on with this by any means. And since no doctors cared, I was like, okay, whatever. And after becoming a health coach and diving into the space, especially with PCOS, I realized that your period is your number one indicator of health as a female. And if you are not going to the bathroom every single day, that should be your number one concern, whether you are a lady or a gent. And so we're going to have this conversation today, folks. And after sharing a little bit more about this on my stories and in my content this week, I've had a couple of people reach out for my gut guide. Also, if you want that, I made it for you. It's nothing fancy. Literally comment gut guide and I will send it to you. And there's stuff that you can implement right away to get relief within 24 to 48 hours. Like, it's just straight to the basics, nothing crazy, no supplements, prescriptions, anything like that, just things you can implement right away. But after putting myself out there and being vulnerable and talking about this, so many people were like, oh my God, girl, same. Like, I've never, either A, like being constipated, or B, having like IBS. And so if you actually have IBS, like by all means, see a specialist for that. But like a lot of my clients even will come to me being like, I've tried to get, diagnosed with IBS and I don't have it, but I just am like constantly running to the bathroom and shitting myself. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not normal. And so once again, no pun intended, there's a happy medium here. And so there's a lot of things that we normalize that should be red flags. These are our car dashboard lights going off, screaming to us that we need to pull over and get service immediately. And if we don't, it's just going to get worse and we just ignore it. So if you're literally not pooping every single day, not normal. If you're looking 6 months pregnant after breakfast or after any meal and being bloated like a busted can of biscuits, not normal. If you are constantly needing to unbutton your pants and change outfits as you progress through the day, not normal. If you're running to the bathroom because you're going to shit yourself, not normal. And once again, just because this is common, maybe like you have other friends or family members that experience this, or maybe this has been your normal, but this is not normal. And so my main concern is that I am healthy. I have been working out consistently for like 13 years. I, know how much food I should be eating. I've done all the research on tracking my food. I am a literal coach who does this. I drink plenty of water. I prioritize sleep. I would eat the fiber. I would eat healthy, eat whole foods, cut the gluten, cut the dairy, cut everything. And still, nothing would change. And I want to make it clear why this is important, because it's not just about being uncomfortable. I think a lot of people think of gut health and immediately associate it with like bloating or like heartburn or discomfort. And so like, while yes, you shouldn't be in pain or experiencing discomfort, it goes so much deeper than that on why it's actually important. So the first thing, and my prime example of myself here, is hormone clearance. As women, we have estrogen that gets flushed out when we go to the bathroom. And so if you are not going to the bathroom, like in my case, my body produces enough estrogen, but it's not able to detoxify and flush it out properly, then causing it to recirculate into my system instead of clearing out, and then driving those hormone issues. So by me not being able to go to the bathroom, I am now making my PCOS worse and my hormones worse. Do you get where I'm going? Detoxification needs to be happening for everyone. Nutrient absorption, like if your gut is not absorbing the nutrients of the food that you're eating, then once again it just goes right through you. You're not able to actually like absorb any of the vitamins, minerals, and all of the necessities that your body needs. It causes inflammation. So once again, like puffiness in your face, puffiness in your body, just not being able to lose weight, or like having a lot of inflammation and like water retention. It affects your energy. It affects your skin. If you have acne and you just keep trying new products, that's not going to fix it. There's something going on internally that you need to fix, my girl. And then your mood and also metabolism. And so if, getting healthy and fit or weight loss is your goal and your metabolism is sluggish and slow, it's not just your metabolism, it's because it's a byproduct of your gut. And so when your gut is in check, then your hormones are in check, and then your metabolism is in check, and then all of your other goals can be in check, and then you can be looking and feeling your best, essentially. So I also want to reiterate, this isn't something that like my doctor even noticed, because they would run my blood work and they're like, oh, everything looks normal. Everything looks normal. So I had to go and pay out of pocket for a Dutch test. I had to go and pay out of pocket for a GI map, and it is expensive, but this is what it took for me to get to the bottom of what was going on, and figuring out what was wrong with me so that I could figure out how to treat it properly. But a lot of people continue to only treat the symptoms. It's kind of my main thing I want to bring up today. So like going and trying a bunch of different probiotics and all the different kinds, a greens powder, not going to do shit for you. Even like fiber gummies, things like that, digestive teas, cutting gluten, dairy, and like some of it might provide you some temporary relief, but like you're still just like slapping a Band-Aid on it. Same thing with like a laxative. Like if you're relying on a laxative or coffee to go to the bathroom, that's not actually helping your gut at all. And so we really need to get to the bottom of like, why is your gut struggling in the first place? And so I mentioned this earlier, but like, if you continue treating the symptoms and slapping Band-Aids on it and it's not working, this is like your warning lights going off on your car dashboard. And instead of you going and getting the oil change or going and getting whatever is the service that needs to be done fixed, it's like you just turning off the light and then just going about your day. Like just because the warning light is off doesn't mean that the problem's off. And like, so you turning off the warning light is like what you're doing by doing these Band-Aids. And so if you ignore it, the problem not only doesn't go away, but the problem gets worse because you just continue to run on it and try to pretend like nothing's happening, but it gets worse. So the first thing that I do with my clients is making sure that we're eating enough food. A lot of this can also happen from not like digestive issues, bloating, not going to the bathroom every single day, or shitting yourself, is often because you're not eating enough on a day-to-day basis. The number one thing that I see with my clients is that they are under eating. That's right, not eating enough. 90% of you listening to this are going to think that you need to eat less, and that's not always the answer. And so I always make sure that they're eating enough food, calories on a day-to-day basis and on a weekly basis. So another thing that I see is overeating on the weekends, under-eating during the week to try to make up for it. And that fluctuation causes a lot of disruption. Are they eating enough fiber, 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day, and not getting it from shitty sources like those low-carb, mission-balanced tortillas or whatever? I got a bone to pick with you. Absolutely not. Are they drinking enough water? I would say 95% of my clients that come to me are dehydrated and not drinking enough water. And so the first thing that I implement in week 1 is making sure they're eating enough food and drinking enough water. Like, I'd like to take things really slow and steady and not overwhelm with like a bunch of rules and, things to implement. So we just go for the big majors first, and that always being eating enough and drinking enough. Then once we get that underway or whatever, and we're confident with that, then I'll start looking at things like sleep and stress management, because those are just as important. And a lot of your gut issues actually can stem from your nervous system and stress. And so, like I said, me adding a bunch of things to your plate and giving you this long list of to-dos isn't going to be helpful for you. It's actually going to be more stressful for you and then make it worse. This is why we really have to look at everything as a holistic approach and not just onesie twosies. And then, movement within your exercise. Like, are you, exercising a couple times per week? Are you, if not, maybe, getting enough movement in, just, not sitting at a desk all day, things like that. And so all of these are lifestyle problems, and none of that can be fixed with a supplement or a medication or another Band-Aid. So, I just wanted to make this episode because I really want you to know that it is not normal to be suffering in silence. It's not normal to not be going to the bathroom every single day, or if you're, once again, like running to the bathroom because you're going to shit yourself. This is not normal, and we should not accept that. And if your doctor does not bat an eye at you or just tries to give you one of these, do not accept that necessarily for an answer, and, try to get to the root cause of what's going on. And if you want help figuring out what that is exactly what I am here to do, is to help you get to the root cause of what's going on. And so for me, I had to go down this crazy gut protocol journey and make my life 10 times harder because I ignored these signals for so long. And so a lot of my clients can just implement those things that I just listed to you. And once again, if you want the actual gut guide that kind of breaks it down and you can kind of have it to reference and know exactly what to implement and how much to implement, comment the word gut health and I'll send it to you. For the people on Instagram, if you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, you can either leave a comment on those or go on Instagram and just message me and I'll send it to you. But once again, please message me. You don't have to be my client. I will do whatever I can to help you. And then obviously, if you need some extra support, then that is exactly what I do with my clients and really help you dive in and make things as simple as possible. I do not want to give you a 20-step AM and PM routine. I don't want to overwhelm you with a bunch of rules and regulations. I'm only going to make you do the things that are going to really move the needle for you and be, easy for you to be consistent with over time. That's going to be key here. So, fix the foundation, get to that gut health, get to that hormone health, and then get to the metabolism health. And then it's all connected. It really all is a domino effect and is connected. So I think that's all I really wanted to say today. And this is going to be short and sweet, but I will leave you on that note just to raise some awareness and give you guys some quick steps to implement. And then, like I said, most of it's going to be in that guide for you so that you can actually take it with you and do your homework, and then reach out to me if you need anything. All right. Love ya. Bye.